The story of Moses. A long time ago in Egypt, there lived the people of God called the Hebrews. They were slaves of the Egyptians and suffered a lot. They worked all day making bricks and building things for the Pharaoh. They were tired and prayed to God for help. The king of Egypt, the Pharaoh, was afraid that the Hebrew people would grow too big. So he made a very cruel order. All Hebrew baby boys were to be thrown into the Nile River. But a Hebrew woman had a beautiful baby. She hid him for 3 months until she could no longer. Then she made a basket with straw and pitch so that the water would not get in, put the baby in it and took it to the river. The baby's sister, named Miriam, stood at a distance, watching. The Pharaoh's daughter went to bathe in the river and saw the basket. When she opened it, she saw the baby crying and felt sorry for him. At that moment, Miriam approached and said,
"Do you want me to call a Hebrew woman to take care of the baby?"
The princess agreed, and Miriam brought her own mother. So the mother was able to take care of the baby for a while longer. Later, he went to live in the palace, and the princess named him Moses because he was pulled out of the water. Moses grew up like a prince in the palace, but he knew he was Hebrew. One day, he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew. He got angry and tried to defend the Hebrew, but then he had to flee because Pharaoh found out and wanted to punish him. Moses fled to a faraway desert. There, he helped some young women water the animals. Their father, named Jethro, invited Moses to live with them. Moses married one of the daughters, Zipporah, and had a son. Years passed, and Moses became a shepherd. One day, he went up the mountain with the animals and saw something very strange. A bush was on fire, but it was not burned. He approached, curious, and then he heard a voice.
"Moses, Moses, take off your sandals from your feet, for the place where you are standing is holy. I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob."
God told Moses that he would be the one chosen to free the Hebrew people from Egypt. Moses was afraid, saying that he did not know how to speak well. But God promised,
"I will be with you."
And he sent Aaron, Moses' brother, to help him. Moses and Aaron returned to Egypt and went to Pharaoh. They said courageously,
"This is what the Lord says. Let my people go."
But Pharaoh said no. And then God began to show his power with 10 plagues. First plague. The water turned to blood. Moses touched the Nile River with his staff, and all the water turned to blood. The fish died, and the people could not drink. Moses and Aaron returned to Egypt and went to Pharaoh. They said to Pharaoh,
"This is what the Lord says. Let my people go, or worse, plagues will come."
But Pharaoh said no, so God sent second plague, frogs everywhere. Frogs came out of the rivers and invaded the houses, beds, pots and streets. Egypt was full of frogs. Moses and Aaron returned to Egypt and went to Pharaoh. They said to Pharaoh,
"This is what the Lord says. Let my people go, or worse, plagues will come."
But Pharaoh said no, so God sent third plague, lice. God told Aaron to touch the dust of the ground, and he turned into lice. All the Egyptians and their animals were covered in it. Moses and Aaron went back to Egypt and went to Pharaoh. They said to Pharaoh,
"This is what the Lord says. Let my people go, or worse, plagues will come."
But Pharaoh said no, so God sent fourth plague, flies. God sent many flies over the houses and the palace. They flew everywhere, making the people suffer. Moses and Aaron returned to Egypt and went to Pharaoh. They said to Pharaoh,
This is what the Lord says. Let my people go, or worse, plagues will come.
But Pharaoh said no, so God sent, fifth plague, death of the animals. The Egyptians' animals became sick and died, but the Hebrews' animals were fine. Moses and Aaron returned to Egypt and went to Pharaoh. They said to Pharaoh,
This is what the Lord says. Let my people go, or worse, plagues will come.
But Pharaoh said no, so God sent, sixth plague, sores. Moses threw ashes into the air, and painful sores appeared on the skin of the Egyptians and their animals. Moses and Aaron returned to Egypt and went to Pharaoh. They said to Pharaoh,
This is what the Lord says. Let my people go, or worse, plagues will come.
But Pharaoh said no, so God sent, seventh plague, hail with fire. A shower of ice mixed with fire fell from the sky. It destroyed crops, houses, and trees. Moses and Aaron returned to Egypt and went to Pharaoh. They said to Pharaoh,
This is what the Lord says. Let my people go, or worse, plagues will come.
But Pharaoh said no, so God sent, eighth plague, locusts. Swarms of locusts came and ate everything that was left of the crops. Moses and Aaron went back to Egypt and went to Pharaoh. They said to Pharaoh,
This is what the Lord says. Let my people go, or worse, plagues will come.
But Pharaoh said no, so God sent. But Pharaoh said no, so God sent the 10th plague, death of the firstborn. That night the angel of the Lord passed through all Egypt. The firstborn son of every Egyptian house died. But God told the Hebrews to put lamb's blood on their doorposts. When the angel saw the blood, he would pass over it. This was called Passover. After that, Pharaoh let the people go. Moses led the people out of Egypt. When they came near the Red Sea, Pharaoh changed his mind and sent his army after them. The people were afraid, but God told Moses to raise his staff. Then the sea parted. The people went on dry land, and when the soldiers tried to cross, the sea closed up. In the desert, the people were hungry and thirsty. God sent manna, which was bread from heaven, and water came out of the rock. On Mount Sinai, God called Moses and gave him the tablets with the 10 Commandments. They were rules for the people to live well with God and with others. Moses led the people for many years. He taught, cared for, and prayed for them. When he was already old, God showed him the promised land from afar. Moses did not enter it, but he knew that he had fulfilled his mission. So Moses rested. Joshua was the new leader of the people.
Hi, little friends. Thanks for watching. Ask Mommy to subscribe for more stories. Bye-bye.